Hey guys, what's up? It's Stricken06 of Stricken06.com, and today we're going to be doing something really cool. We're going to be taking apart a Nissan Rogue axle shaft, CV axle, front right passenger side specifically. I'm going to show you what to do in case your axle is stuck. You can rebuild it with just half. Your axle actually consists of two separate halves. There's going to be this side, that's going to be the transmission inboard side, and then there's going to be the outboard side, which is this side right here. This is where your wheel hub is. This is what's attached to your spindle or your knuckle, and you're going to see it pretty much sticking out the front wheel right here. So very often this bearing here gets stuck inside the carrier and you can't pull this axle out. So you're forced to either tow your car to the mechanic or pretty much tow your car to the mechanic. So, well, I'm going to teach you guys exactly what to do in a situation where half of your axle is stuck. This could be stuck inside the transmission, or this bearing here could be stuck inside that carrier that is attached to the transmission. So the first thing you're going to need to do is you're going to need to cut the inwardmost snap ring. You're going to see there's multiple snap rings. You're going to need to cut the inmost one. Odds are your boot's already torn, that's probably why you're here to begin with, or your axle's clicking. So you're going to need to cut this one off. Doing so will allow the boot to be pushed back, and when you're doing this there's going to be a lot of grease inside and grit and dirt, so wear gloves. Once you push back this boot, you're going to be able to look inside. You might also want to cut this ring off as well, unless it allows you to sneak it down. So let's go ahead and try to sneak it down. Mine allowed it to sneak down a little bit, just enough to get my hands in there. Inside you will see a ring, a snap ring, that silver thing right there. See it right here? A silver snap ring. And you're going to see how it connects on this little tooth right there. You're going to need a screwdriver, and you're going to need to release that snap ring. I like to take a simple flathead and simply pry underneath that snap ring and release one side at a time. And once it comes off, it's only held on by 3 points. Once that comes off, this whole axle will slide right out of itself. And now you have this part that is still stuck inside the transmission or the bearing carrier, and you're going to have this part that you can just change or rebuild. You can just simply throw on a new boot by cutting off this one. So the next thing you can do is remove that snap ring. It's just one piece that's split in half. Set that aside. You will have 3 roller bearings in here. Mine are rusted because it's been sitting around. I've been waiting to do this video. The only way you can take off that roller bearing set is you will need a pair of snap ring pliers. I have Craftsman model 47412. They work flawlessly in this particular condition. You're going to need them to go from, let's see here, you're going to need to go from closed to open position. See this ring right here with those 2 little holes? Your snap ring pliers will go into those 2 holes. You're going to take your pliers, put them into the snap ring, spread it apart. Watch your eyes because they like to shoot out. Remove that snap ring, set it aside. Now your whole bearing carrier will simply come off of that spindle. You can set that aside. Now you can cut this here ring off, and you will slide that bad boot right off. And you can do the opposite by putting the new boot on and putting on that snap ring. Once you have done that, you can also clean everything up, lubricate everything with specific axle grease. I happen to use full synth Valvoline. It's good for disc brake wheel bearings, chassis, suspension, universal joints, CV, constant velocity joints, which is what we're working on. You don't need a lot, just enough to pack in that housing, make it nice and lubricated. Again, if you put in too much, it's going to want to start shooting out, and it will shoot out. You'll see it's going to start sneaking through and seeping out. Because this thing travels inside of itself, so if you put in too much, it's going to get everywhere. It might even start prematurely wearing the boot because of all that pressure built up inside. So once you've cleaned everything up, you got all the sand and dirt out, and you feel like your bearings are in good enough condition to be rebuilt. Obviously this one is all rusted and pretty much out of whack. It's not going to be rebuilt. You're going to put this back on, slide it on, and we're going to put our snap ring back on. Put it onto our snap ring pliers. Spread it open. Again, watch your eyes because these things like to shoot out. And if you got it on, just push it on and it will sit. And make sure you really push it in there to make sure it's actually on. Good, ours is on. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to take our bearings, we're going to push them inward as tight together as we can get them. And we're going to feed it in to our cup here. Just enough to where we can take our snap ring, put it around the axle, and lock in that snap ring the same way we took it off. This snap ring simply sits on one of these teeth, it doesn't matter which one. Put it in, adjust the other side, and also pop it in right there. What this snap ring does is it prevents that part from completely coming out of here. It locks it in, and you can see it's a pretty tight fit. Take our snap ring, put it around the axle, and lock in that snap ring the same way we took it off. Once we have it in, we can just give it a nice little jerk to check to make sure it's seated in right. Then we're going to want to take and make sure that our boot has the right little tongs that correspond with the divots here in that cup. Simply turn it if we have to and slide that boot on. Get it over the lip of that cup and try to keep this area as dry as possible. It will help seal it up better. Once we see that it is aligned completely, we simply put on a new ring. You can use a zip tie, you can use a whole sort of different things if you don't have a new metal ring here. Some people will use a C-clamp. Some will do a lot of crazy things. But they all seem to work. Alright, so there you go guys, we've just rebuilt the inside axle shaft. Thanks guys for watching. It's Stricken06 of Stricken06.com, and then below in the description box Amazon links to boots and clamps and grease and all sorts of things, and these snap ring pliers right here that you will need to complete this job. Thanks guys for watching. It's Stricken06 of Stricken06.com, and I'm out.